Welcome back to part 2 of a deep dive into the Cosmic Gateways Tarot. If you're new here, my name is B. Lewis. I'm an artist, author, and tarot enthusiast, and this is my journey to completion for my dream project, the Cosmic Gateways Tarot deck. Last week, we took a closer look into some of the symbolism and imagery included in the illustrations of the deck. If you haven't yet watched that video, I'll link it here and in the description below. This week, I'll share what the Cosmic Gateways are, where the name for the deck came from, and where my ideas and inspirations for the cards come from. In a previous video, I talked about how I took a leap to work on this project. Because I have been putting the deck off for so many years, when I finally decided to jump into this project, I did so head first. I didn't have a set theme in mind or any sort of plan. That came a little bit later. Not much later, but just a little bit later. I just knew that it was time for me to get started, and I didn't want to overthink it or allow fear to keep me from moving forward. Because what I'll tend to do is plan things to the absolute smallest degree and then get sidetracked somewhere during the middle of my plan. I didn't want to follow that trend with this project. I had to get started, even if that meant jumping in head first. So from the beginning though, I allowed myself to create freely, inviting inspiration from wherever it wanted to come. For example, my first card, which was the High Priestess, actually began her journey as the Chariot card. I couldn't quite articulate what I needed to artistically, and so she evolved into the High Priestess. One thing I was sure about for this deck was that I wanted to use this project as an opportunity to be purposefully introspective, creating from a completely true, authentic, and transparent space. If nothing else, this project would serve as a self-portrait for my own spiritual journey. And because I don't see myself as an anomaly, I've always felt that if I want to see tarot done a specific way, surely there will be other people who could connect to it as well. And one of the things that I am so proud about for this deck is the community that has formed around this project. Around the time that I began working on my second card, Justice, I had been going through like a huge shift emotionally, spiritually, and mentally. And there were some truths that I had to face, as with the Justice card. And as I was coming out of one area of growth and expansion, it dawned on me that this was only a stepping stone for the next phase of whatever life had in store, bringing about new lessons and new opportunities. Your journey doesn't end just because you've done some shadow work and you say affirmations every day. You move on to the next thing and so on and so forth, and this is a continuous cycle. We just keep going, always evolving, always expanding as eternal beings, no matter how long that takes. So as I'm coming to this realization, the name for the deck comes to me, the Cosmic Gateways Tarot. The Cosmic Gateways themselves representing each phase of one's life. In this case, being characterized as the Fool's Journey. So many of the major arcana cards actually feature gateways of some sort, as to say that you must have this experience, whatever that experience is, and come to an understanding of what you're going through in order to move beyond to the next gateway. As such, this deck will be perfect to use as a tool for self-care and a tool to help heal and propel you or the person that you're reading for. As a reader, one of the types of readings that I excel in and I love to do involve helping people to heal through their past experiences and helping them to realize their purpose and what keeps them from fulfilling that purpose. I've always been regarded as someone with a very motherly and nurturing disposition. I am a big sister, so that just kind of comes with the territory. And I think that shines through in this deck. Of course, you'll absolutely be able to use this however you want to use it. But it's certainly being infused with the energies of love and actualization. Ideas for the images come from all over the place. More often than not, I get the ideas as a download of sorts. It could be a result of a meditation. It can come to me in the shower or as I'm driving down the street or going to Kroger. And I often draw these little sketches on index cards just to make note of the idea in case I'm unable to get to it right away. The Lover's card, for example, came from an experience during a guided meditation. I don't even remember what the meditation was about. I really don't. I just remember that the instructor or the speaker was telling us to go towards this golden light. Go towards the light. Right? And me being me, I'm like, okay, the light is over there, but I want to see what's back behind me. And so as I followed that flow of thought, I experienced the image illustrated in the Lover's card. My favorite cards of this deck follow similar experiences. When I'm not divinely inspired, as it were, I'll dive into the meanings and symbolism of the Rider-Waite-Smith cards, studying them. And I'll open myself up to receive a phrase or keyword around those cards, if I don't already have like my own sort of set interpretations based on reading experience, right? When I've got it, I'll ask myself, what would this look like if it were happening right now? How would somebody experience this in their day-to-day? And from there, I'll build a story around that concept, creating the card designs. For example, the hanged man became the hanging one. For one, I knew for a fact that I was not about to draw a black person hanging from a tree. That was a hard hell no. Like, it was not happening, right? But I did know that I enjoyed the concept, or enjoyed the idea of having a different perspective that comes with the meaning of the hanged man. From there, it came to me that oftentimes children have a different, often freer perspective than adults. And so it became important to me to lean into that line of thinking. Because as we get older, I feel we lose that sense of wonder for the world, that sense of unbridled freedom that children have, that fearlessness to try new things and to just be and experience the world as it happens. So with this card, I wanted to channel that innocence and that ability to be able to see the world through the eyes of a child, unburdened by shame, lack, or limiting beliefs. It even works really with the interpretation of the hanging one being a martyr, because children, let's face it, will often martyr themselves to please or get the approval from their loved ones. And so I think by doing that, deciding how a card will be experienced in everyday life has helped to shape the deck just as much as my inspiration received from my spiritual encounters. A lot of the times I get inspiration or an idea, and I'll only have the idea from a very surface level point of view. And as I'm working through the card, I'll get more information come as to the significance of the card or the images that I'm working on. This comes from similar downloads as the ideas themselves, and sometimes you guys fill in the blanks for me once the card is complete. One of the things I've always loved about sharing this deck is that oftentimes you'll see something in the images that even I didn't see, and I can't begin to explain how magical that experience is. I'll give you a couple of examples. So the card that I'm currently working on is the Page of Cups, and the phrase that I'm working from is unexpected surprises. So I'm going through the whole process of thinking about how this looks in real life, or how this would look like for a kid, because all of my pages are children. And I'm intentionally choosing deities and magical beings to be included based on whatever the meaning of the page is. So I'm working through the Page of Cups, and I have the idea that my page's unexpected surprise comes in the form of a genie's lamp, or finding a genie's lamp. And I'm like, okay, great, that's cool, that's a really good idea. We've already got a fairy, we've got a fox spirit, and so now we have a jinn or a genie. So all right, but how am I going to explain this, right? So I'm running it through my mind. I'm talking about the genie and jinn. We see the genie as a positive representation from the Aladdin movies, which is one of my favorite movies, but jinn can also be seen as negative. So the kid could get all kinds of surprises in the process. But something goes, hold on, girl. Don't forget, your granddad's name is Aladdin. And as I'm telling this story, every time I tell it, like, I get goosebumps, right? Because as that thought occurred to me, it also occurred to me that this is probably his way of coming through, right? And so those types of magical moments are so wild and like so fun to experience. Another example is when I posted the Lovers card. So I have, gave my sort of intention that this is the mundane and higher self, and I'm going through this whole thing, right? And someone says, but it reminds me of being a Gemini. And I'm like, oh, okay, I can see it, because you have that twin energy. And so experiences like that, I think, are just beautiful. And I try not to give too much of my intentions up for the cards, because I want to leave room for you guys to see and experience. I know I keep using that word a lot, but experience this from your perspective. And when you do and you share those things with me, like, I can't begin to explain how that feels. I'm so honored and so humbled that the work that I'm producing ignites something in you. So I think that wraps up part 2 of our deep dive into the Cosmic Gateways Tarot. If you have any questions about the cards, or if there's anything you'd like me to talk about in the episodes to come, leave it down in the comments below. I love engaging with you guys, and I'm so happy to have you with me along for this ride. And it truly makes my heart smile. And when y'all tell me y'all be watching my videos, I'll be like, okay. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. To purchase art from the Cosmic Gateways Tarot, which helps support this channel and the deck creation process, or to join the waitlist for the tarot deck, visit my website, BLewisArts.com. There'll be all kinds of links and things in the description. Until next time, peace.